What is going on, my CloverTac crew and the Ghost Mafia? Welcome to the Ghost and Clover Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 17. Today's date for the record is Sunday, October 6th, 2024. Man, this year is going by fast. Fall is almost here. It's going to be great. We are powered by our good friends at European American Armory. For those of you who are just tuning in, my name is Trey with Ghost Tactical, and I will be your tour guide for tonight's adventure. We'll call it that. We'll bring in our co-host Clover here in a second. But before you do, we want to say hello to everybody out there. We are streaming live over on YouTube to over 150 countries worldwide. If you're watching this live, then go ahead and say something in the chat. We don't know that you're out there unless you do. If you're watching this in replay or listening to it in podcast form, thank you so much for doing that. But we do invite you to every other Sunday to join us for the live recording of this and meet some really cool people that are out here in the chat. So we do welcome you to do that. If you are listening in podcast form, we ask you to rate, share, review, all that good stuff. Like I said, we'll bring Clover here in a second. But if you guys aren't familiar with what we do, we both bring a topic to the podcast tonight. It doesn't have to be any topic in particular, anything, guns, food, if we like wearing short shorts or pink tutus or whatever. But we don't know what each other's topics are. And the third topic of the night, that's something we'll talk about here in a little bit, will be from you guys. One lucky winner out there will get a chance to give us the third topic. If you are listening to this in podcast form, we invite you to check us out over on the Self-Defense Radio Network and on the Firearms Radio Network. So go check out all your favorite pro gun, pro toy podcasts over at selfdefenseradio.net and firearmsradio.net. Let's bring in Clover. What's going on, my man? How are you doing? Feeling all right?
What up? I'm still here, man. That's all I can say.
I mean, it's been an interesting couple months for you. Let's say that.
Telling you, some interesting month or so for sure. Yeah. Something like that. But yeah, still here.
That's good. How's the weather down in Tejas?
All the bad weather apparently is East Coast, Florida. And shit. The way
I was talking with Chase earlier, and he's having to start putting up the hurricane shutters on the. It's going to be a strong Cat 4 on Wednesday. By the time it hits him, it could be a 3 still. So that's I feel bad for anyone that lives in the Tampa Bay area, man. People in Tampa area they got some of the crappiest luck in the world. So, and all our friends over in Tennessee and Western Carolina, we hope you're all doing well as well.
Yeah, those guys got hit heavy because they just, that's a place not really prepared for that type of thing regularly, I think. And they caught them with their pants down, unfortunately. And that happens a lot, It's just a lot of, when catastrophic weather occurs, typically that's why it's an area that's just not prone to that sort of thing. And so when it once in a generation or whatever it does happen, it's not good.
Well, we talked about that, and when Katrina came through, Katrina was only a Category 3 hurricane. It wasn't the devastation of Katrina wasn't because of the size or the power of the hurricane. What happened where the levees broke, so people forget that it wasn't the hurricane that caused the devastation. It was not that New Orleans wasn't prepared, but it hadn't been prepared or hadn't been fixed. So there were some issues with different things that hadn't been addressed. And that's, like you said, it's not necessarily the storm that's going to hurt or kill. It's going to be if that area is ready to handle that storm.
Yeah, and the one now, Milton, moving toward Florida, there's a few things. I mean, they're saying it's gonna definitely be Cat 5 at some point. Probably the strongest hurricane potentially, but it's a small hurricane, which is weird. Like intensity does not equal size, right? And they're saying that luckily that because of the size, they're thinking that because of the size, it's going to really have some problems with some wind shear right before it hits Florida. And let's fingers crossed that happens. And they're saying potentially you could shear it down. Now it's going to spread the wind field out. So you're going to have, higher winds than you normally would further out. But the winds will be drastically reduced overall, which I think is
Cat 5 I think is 156 miles an hour and above, and Yeah, it's what Ron White say. It's not that the wind's blowing; it's what the winds are blowing.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Well, and then the surge, especially
Yeah.
with all the rain and everything.
Like I said, Tampa Bay is just. I feel. I mean, they're just going to get hammered again, and so we hope everyone is safe. And if you can get out, get out. If you're already out, stay out. Don't come back for a while.
Yep. Otherwise, buckle down.
Buckle down. Yep. You got anything before we start our first topic?
Not really.
All right. Well, it is your first topic, so lay it on me. What we're going to talk about here,
man. Went to TriggerCon here, a couple weeks back now, and no more shows, dude, until shot.
Yeah.
So, thought, man, I really want to talk. I kind of want to talk shows.
Okay.
And so I had a good conversation last night. I've been randomly firing up some X Spaces, which is their little live, kind of like StreamYard would be here, where you can kind of get on a panel talk. There's no cameras or anything like that, of course, but
yeah.
And so I've been randomly firing those up just to kind of see, because there's just not a lot of people utilizing that technology. It's like, that'd be kind of cool if we could get a thing going where at any given time there was gun talk and stuff going on over there in the X Spaces, And so anyway, ended up in a good conversation and really kind of got into a conversation about going to gun shows and different types of gun shows and stuff like that. So I thought, man, let's.
Now, are you talking gun shows or are you talking industry shows?
No, legit, the difference. I don't talk about the difference, but primarily the gun shows, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the road that it went down, was there seems to be, when we go do what we do, and I'm sure you probably get this too, that people that are out there that aren't really in the know, they hear us going to these trade shows and their mind goes to gun shows. And it's like, that's not what we do.
Not at all what this is. Yeah.
But with that said, that's what kind of led me down this rabbit hole of, probably talk about actual gun shows, because when, we go to these shows, and of course we have in the past worked the big, when you work the biggest gun show in the world, which happens in Tulsa, for those that don't know,
twice a year. Coming up here in another month or so.
Yeah. When you work that for 4 or 5 years, however long it was that we worked that particular show, regular gun shows, it ruins you. And then, when you do these trade shows and these range events and these other things, that also ruins you on gun shows. But, I'm just curious because, we got into that conversation, and while I like the Tulsa show, I also like smaller gun shows. I like smaller gun shows that there's really not even any FFL dealers there, right? It's more like a flea market or like a swap
all
shop.
private transactions.
Yeah. Right. And there used to be pre-cough. There used to be a couple of those shows.
Yeah, we still have them
here, and there haven't been any, and it's aggravating because I would like to get out to a couple of those.
Yeah, we have one here every quarter. And it takes over our little community center, and I mean it's if I had to guess, I would say probably 150 tables. And I'm talking tables, not booths,
Yeah, I don't know that the ones I'm talking about are that big, but yeah.
Well, I'm not saying that there's 150 people doing that. One person might have 10 tables. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's not a huge one, but it's pretty cool. And they're the local gun. There's a couple different local gun shops that'll come in. They'll have their stuff, but the vast majority of them are private sale people, just bringing their collections out. People sometimes not even wanting to sell, just wanting to show off some of their guns, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of knife people are. I would say that half the show is probably knife booths now, or tables, whatever you want to call them. And you have all the way up from we have some famous knife makers in the area that had their own TV shows back in the day, within an hour of here. So those are the guys would be there. Then you have the Chinesium, knives that people have. So I enjoy them. I haven't gone in a couple years, but I do enjoy them. And you're right, though. Take the industry stuff out of it, right? Wanamaker, if you've never been to Wanamaker, if you go to Wanamaker, it will to some extent ruin you of the small quote unquote mom pa gun shows. But I think the mom pa gun shows are 100% needed, because I think, and I don't know this to be true, but I would imagine that the vast majority of people that are buying maybe their first hunting rifle for their kid or something like that, you can find a vast majority of people, I think, that will say their first hunting rifle or their first shotgun or their first whatever were probably bought at a gun show maybe somewhere. And that's kind of cool,
Yeah. Well, and gun shows get such a bad rap. There's so many people that I think come into guns late in life, and so they've come in the last several years or whatever.
Yeah.
They come in during a panic. They come in during, and then they go to a larger gun show, and then they get jaded, right? And
Sure,
so they
yeah.
badmouth gun shows, and I think that for the $15, I mean, whatever it costs to get in there, most gun shows are worth that investment for a variety of reasons. If nothing else, just to kind of lay eyes on things that you may have never seen before, expand your horizons. That's beside the and this is a problem too, because so many people are introverted and they don't get out, and they and the lockdowns and everything made that made that worse.
Yeah.
But it gives you the chance to get out and instead of bad mouthing and bitching and moaning about prices or whatever, why not just have a conversation with the old timer at the table about some of the guns or whatever, maybe learn something, and it's just, I think the bigger the show gets, the harder that is to do. And so I understand it.
Sure.
That some people, but you can pretty easily find, there's several sources online where they document gun shows, large and small. And a lot of times you can catch wind of some of these smaller shows. And so I just really encourage people, try to catch some of the really smaller shows. Don't give up on gun shows, because there are, if you go in it with a mindset of you're greedy and, I'm only going to the gun show because I want to steal,
Sure.
well, of course you're not going to enjoy that show. Go in with the mindset of, I don't give a shit where I buy nothing or not. Like, I'm going to go look at some cool shit and enjoy a gun show,
Yeah. You're talking 10 or $15 for a day's worth of fun, right?
Yeah. Go in there. I mean, maybe you go, maybe you take your kids, maybe you take your, your dad or uncle or brother-in-law or nephew or something, go in there and watch a little bit of the show, talk with some, look at the little bit of the show, talk with some people, maybe grab a hot dog or, something there. If nothing else, right? Support the promoter and whatever that way. And yeah, just, be a part, be out and about, and a participant, I guess, right, in the community, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that as much as we talk about, these small mom, pa, whatever you want to call them, gun shows, it kind of goes hand in hand with supporting the mom, pa, the local gun shops as well, because with the way the big box guys are selling guns and you can get them online now and all of that, the local gun shop, man, 10 years from now it might be a thing of the past, and we can't have that happen. We don't want the local gun shows to be a thing of the past. The cool thing for me, and let's be honest, I think I bought probably less than 10 guns ever through gun shows, right?
Yeah.
Don't go there typically to look, because I know the deals aren't going to be there unless it's just something that I hadn't seen, I've been looking for, and that's the only place I can find it, and it's a decent deal. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I tell you what I enjoy mostly about the gun shows. Usually they have pretty good food, because a lot of people will bring like chili. There'll be like, around here at least, there'll be like a chili cook-off, or there'll be a what do you call it, where you can like a cake thing or whatever you call it,
like a bake sale type thing.
bake sale and cake walks and stuff like that. They get all that stuff, but also that's where a lot of the leather people, or the whole, now with the kydex, people doing kydex at home.
That's true.
You can see all the people that are doing their own stuff, like Ozzy. You can see someone like Ozzy who does leather holsters or leather belts or whatever. You get to see people's creations there, because they're not going to be able to sell them online. So they go to these gun shows and do all that. So there's a whole lot of stuff involved, that it's not just going to look for guns and look for ammo. It's if they do it right, and most of the small gun shows, they do it right. They understand that it's a community thing. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And sometimes, it's a game that I kind of always played, is because, again, I get the sentiment of high prices, and a lot of high prices, let's be honest, are the big box store, the dealer type. I don't say big box store, but like the dealers and stuff. The brick and mortar is the word, I guess. Some of the brick and mortar businesses that are there.
Yeah.
But part of it is the hunt, right? Is going in and like, I want to find a deal. Like, I don't care what it's on, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But what kind of deal can I find on something I didn't know I wanted or didn't know I needed, and like, I've got to buy it because it's just such a good deal. And adopting that attitude.
I don't get that. That's where you and I differ. And you do that when you go to Wanamaker. You said that many times. I just, I'm going to find. Now, you have your list of what you're looking for, but you're also looking for a good deal. I'm going to gun shows for, specific things. And if I don't find them, not a big deal. That's kind of where, I think you probably have more fun at gun shows than I do, because you do enjoy that hunt,
Yeah, there's just something about that, and I've run across some really good deals on stuff.
Yeah, sure,
really good deals.
Absolutely.
Not just guns, but equipment, and like you're talking about, and other things, and I don't know, just something about actually having conversations with people and stuff like that. I've met and become really good friends. I was TriggerCon. Spent quite a bit of time with our friend Steve from Medieval Industries, and we were at dinner one night, and there was some talk going on about how long that Steve and I had known each other, and this, that, and the other, and I was like a 300 fucking subscriber channel or something, right? Why? Because we met at Wanamaker.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. And so before he was ever, really, he was still in California at that time, and he made some little bullet button type thing or something, I think, for California stuff at that time. He wasn't even making the Overwatch rigs and all that stuff that they're making now. And so, just some of the people you meet, the relationships, the antique ammo guy, for example, at Wanamaker and that sort of stuff. So like, if I ever have any questions about old ammo or anything like that, I've got that. You've got that contact now, right? Like, it's somebody I can call, I can email, I can whatever, which is really cool. So there's so many aspects to it that it really irks me when you hear people that badmouth gun shows and go, "Oh, I'm not going to any more gun shows. The prices are too high." And it's like, okay, that's a really selfish way of looking at a gun show. Like, you're only in it for what kind of great deal you can get on something, rather than just enjoying life and the experience and looking at shit.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for those that are looking for those deals, they're obviously out there. At least most of the time, it might not be what you're looking for, but it's a deal. There's a deal to be had, and the best time you can get deals is usually Sunday. If it's a Saturday, Sunday show, that last day, typically around lunchtime, because they want to have a few more hours, and they don't want to carry all that stuff home if they don't have to. I'm not saying you're going to get deals, but if you're ever going to get deals, now here's a problem with that at gun shows, and you and I both have run into this over the years. You see something, you say, you know what, I might go back tomorrow morning, especially like Wanamaker or something. I'm going to go back tomorrow morning and see if you'll take, so and so for this thing. And then you do that and it's gone. How many times have you run into that? And so if you find a deal, it's actually worth it to you already. Can you get maybe a little bit off the next day? Yeah. But if you're already willing to pay that price, you might want to jump on it because it might be gone the next day. So, just think about that as well. All right. Let's talk a little bit about EAA, Clove. I know that, excuse me, I want to let you talk about some stuff because we don't talk enough about their shotguns, and which I have very little, if any, experience with their shotguns. But I have a question for you. I was watching something and I get an email, and it kind of freaked me out because I had never heard this before. And so in Arkansas, they don't really care what you hunt with. But up north, we know that some places like Michigan, they have straight walls. There's only certain things that they can hunt with. I had a guy send me an email, or maybe it was a comment on a thing. I might have been a comment. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But it said that, I wish you would do, first of all, he had the wrong channel. I think he's looking for your channel. He said, I wish you'd do some videos on 350 Legend breakover rifles, and I had never heard the term breakover. Is that a thing, or is this something I've never heard of? I never heard of it before.
Yeah, breakover, break action.
Is it break action? Is it breakover? Maybe a different term. I just never heard the word breakover being used.
Yeah, breakover, break open, break action. Yeah, all the same. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an over and under.
I mean, I obviously you heard break action, but I've never heard break over. Is that like a break action over under or what?
It could be a single shot. Could be a side by side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just had never heard that terminology before,
Yeah, it's a magazine, clip, whatever, whatever type, it's exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to be confused with the tip up of the MC14.
How about that? Yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I did. That's pretty good. Pretty good.
Speaking of EAA.
Speaking of EAA, the tip up, the MC14T, just a tip, just a tip.
Yeah.
I want you to talk. I know you've got at least one or two of their shotguns. The reason why I say that is because we're getting ready to get into some shotgun seasons around here and hunting and all of that. Any shotguns that they have that people, if they're looking to get a new shotgun for duck season or something like that, they should be looking at?
Yeah, I'm not real sure what all they've got coming in, but I will say that if you may hate me for this, so they're bringing in all of their 12 gauge stuff pretty much is in semi-auto anyway. It's going to be Gerson. Anything else will be ACAR. So and if I can draw a parallel between name brand actions, things like that, then I would say the ACAR stuff is more of your Mossberg level, and then your Gerson is more of like the Benelli level. I honestly think it's better, but that's me. Kind of like I think the Regard is better than the 92. It just is. It's beefier. It's just they took a design and tweaked a few things, and to me made it better. But I would say probably you're going to want to go with MC312 series.
Okay.
Most likely if you're hunting. Some people like to hunt with an over and under and stuff like that, but that's typically going to be your dove, your quail, your things like that. Probably not duck and geese. And with that, I mean, I don't know what EAA has been bringing in. We haven't really discussed the numbers coming in on their shotgun side of things.
That's true.
And with the port shit going on and everything else now, who knows too what's happening with that. But I would say they do have their Goose model that is out there. I mean, that is one that's in the catalog, and that would make for.
They've got a Gobbler, which I think is a cool name. Oh, that's for turkey hunting probably, but I think that's a cool name, the Gobbler. Yeah,
they've got the Gobbler and they've got the Goose, and so they got a few different models, and yeah, I mean they'd be pretty awesome. What is cool, speaking of like the turkey stuff, is they've got in the MC312s, they've got that integrated pick rail into the receiver. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like a rail on top of the receiver. It's literally machined into the receiver.
Yeah.
On those, which is really cool. That way, if you wanted to, run a red dot or
Sure.
turkey or whatever, you could. Would not advise trying to do birds of flight, in flight with a red dot. I don't think that's going to end up working out for you very well, but I could be wrong.
Well, I'll tell you what, if someone's successful with that, then they've got some serious skill, right?
Well, I mean,
Or
typically
just lucky.
you want there's a
You're
reason
supposed to
there's a
lead, right? Not
well
use the
there's
dot.
yeah, well there's a reason there's a bead on the end of the barrel, right?
Yeah,
Like, and
right.
looking
Yeah.
at a dot at the rear on the receiver, like that's not it kind of it's that does, to me, it doesn't make any sense.
Well,
Like
you're also,
your barrel's going to be
you're,
in a totally different spot when you're swinging through. So
yeah, you're also talking about limiting your field of view at that point as well. And yeah,
this is probably true. Yeah,
yeah,
this is
yeah,
probably true.
yeah.
But I've been happy with them. I've got to play around. I don't have any of the ACAR line
Okay.
from them. Everything I've got's the Gerson, but I have, obviously, with various range days that we make every single year, which obviously EAA is at. I've had an opportunity to play around with the over and under and the side by sides, and
Right. Yeah. Which do you like in general? Do you like over unders or side by sides better in general?
Over under, yeah,
Over
no
under,
doubt,
yeah, okay.
yeah, no doubt, yeah. For hunting purposes, or sporting it purposes, over
Yeah.
under. Side by sides are cool. Don't get me wrong, especially if you can get an old school that's got ears, or you've got double trigger models and various other ones that you see a lot of times with side by sides, and they can be fun. But over and under, there's something about the over under, because if you've got barrels side by side, depending on if you're crossing left to right or crossing right to
Yeah.
left, and which barrel
Yeah.
you're on, and
Right.
you can there can be some issues there.
Right.
If you're out there and you're better, it doesn't take much. If you're out there and you're a better shotgunner than I am, then maybe not. But I know for me, that's always kind of been an issue. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I get it. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if you're looking for, obviously, any kind of handguns, you guys hear us talking about it all the time. But if you're looking to get into a new shotgun for the seasons this year, go check out our friends over at EA, or European American Armory, and go follow them on social medias. Let them know that Ghost and Clovers sent you. And, obviously, we want you to support all of our sponsors, but if you can't financially support them by buying some of their stuff, even just sending them a message or commenting on a post and saying, hey, thanks for helping out Ghost and Clover's podcast, that does mean a lot. So go check out our friends over EA, and we'll come down to my segment here in a second. But before we do want to mention real quick, the third topic tonight will be a random viewer topic, and Clover will go over that here in just a little bit, and that is brought to you by our friends over at Monstrum Tactical. But we'll go over that here in a little bit. But so be ready, and we're asking everybody ahead of time. Have your question ready so that if you do get chosen, we're not sitting here with dead air waiting for you to think about a question. Have your question ready to go, and if you get chosen, go ahead and type that answer, that question into the chat. So,
right. Or your topic.
Not necessarily or your topic, whatever. Whatever it is. Yeah, the topic, whatever.
Yeah, same difference.
Yeah, but
cool.
Yeah.
What do you got?
My topic is something happened yesterday, and I was something popped up on my phone. It was an email thing, and I opened it up, and for most of you guys know, one of my favorite bands ever is the Smiths. And if you're familiar with the Smiths at all, the lead singer of the Smiths back in the 80s was Morrissey. Now, Morrissey has gone on to have a very successful solo career after he left the band broke up in 87 and all that. Anyways, so I've always wanted to see Morrissey in concert, but he doesn't do many concerts anymore. He doesn't travel much anymore. He doesn't do much anymore. I get a thing that says he's going to be in Little Rock November 4th, and the tickets were on sale.
Nice.
So I immediately went and got tickets for me, my wife, and my daughter. My son-in-law is not into any of that kind of music, so he did not want to go. So I got for the three of us. So I'm actually getting to do a bucket list concert, which I never thought that this bucket list concert would ever going to happen, because I didn't think he was ever going to tour again. He's only doing like 15 shows. And Little Rock just happens to be one of them. So I'm going to go see one of my favorite singers ever in a bucket list concert. So I want to talk about, first off, bucket list concerts or bucket list. Now we're going to talk about, for the Concerts Club, I want to talk about people that are still alive.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we want to go see the original lineup of the Beatles or Leonard Skinner or the Doors. Well, obviously that's not possible. So people that are still alive and occasionally tour, is there a bucket list concert that you want to go to? And then we're going to talk about bucket list things we want to do. So tonight's discussion is bucket list. First question is bucket list concert. If you've got that one or two concerts that you said, man, if I ever get an opportunity, I'm doing it. Do you have that?
I don't think I do.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think I do. Anything, you started off that, and my mind immediately goes to folks that are not with us anymore. Or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
And,
and that would be an easy one to do, because obviously I would love to go see the Beatles, and the Beach Boys. I've seen the Beach Boys 20 times, but
as far as anybody that's with us anymore, it's like
Alabama G23, I've seen them and they are phenomenal.
Yeah. Like I've seen so many, right? Like,
yeah, same here.
Like,
I would love to see Pink Floyd, the original lineup of Pink Floyd. And they'll never tour again. So I would love to see that. So I'll never see that happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if there's not any bucket list concerts, let's talk about maybe bucket list things that you would like to do before you kick the bucket. Is there places that you want to go, or things that you want to do? They're definitely bucket list places or things that, and let's hear what you guys think out there in the panel. What bucket list, either concerts or bucket list activities or places that you guys want to go to?
I don't know. Going back to the concert, I'm thinking now, like, I don't think I've ever seen Aerosmith.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And so it's like, okay, that's one. That could potentially be one. Of course, they're not. Steven Tyler's in bad health, isn't he?
I don't know. I keep seeing videos of him. Like, I don't think he's doing a tour, but I see him every now and then pop up and like do like a surprise appearance at people's concerts and all that. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't. Of course, he never looked great, but
no. Let's just be honest. Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, man, bucket list, like, yeah, I mean, I kind of want to.
Did you ever see AC/DC? I know you're a big fan of AC/DC. Did you ever see them live?
Yes, they were at.
You did?
Rock,
okay.
Yeah. I was lucky, man, because there was a venue here that did Rock Fest every year, and man, it was huge. It was an all day thing. It's literally started at like 9 o'clock in the morning and went and sometimes until 2 or 3 in the morning. You know what I mean? The following morning.
Yeah.
It was almost like a Woodstock or like a festival thing or something, but it was in a venue.
Sure.
And man, just the amount of bands that came through there, and not just well-known bands, but bands that weren't known at the time that then all of a sudden blow up years later, and you're like, I remember them in Rock Fest, and I liked them. They were like, Creed is one of those, right?
Sure.
Like Creed played Rock Fest for 2 or 3 years probably before they were, made you nauseous as much as they got played on the radio. Let's be honest, right? All right.
Yeah, overplayed.
They got bad overplayed. Yeah. But I remember them playing in, and I'm like, man, these guys, oh, I like it, I like their stuff, And then next thing you know, they're mainstream. So there was a lot of that went on. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I got lucky. I mean, I've been to hundreds and hundreds of concerts. Great thing about growing up in Dallas is any major tour came through Dallas, right? It's a big
Oh
hub
yeah.
for.
Yeah.
But I also had a friend of mine in high school whose dad owned a very famous club, and it was called Trees. I don't know if it's still there or not. It was still there in Deep Ellum, kind of where we were staying for NRAM. But it was called Trees, and it was a nightclub, but it also had a stage. A lot of people came through. I got to see the Cranberries. I mean, you got to see. I mean, all sorts of the Toadies. You got to see all sorts of people come through there. And a lot of times there'd be bands that would come through, and they would come in as Jim's Crab Shack. Like, who the hell is Jim's Crab Shack or whatever, and it was a pretty famous band, but they wanted to come in and try some new music out before they recorded it, but they didn't want to come in as Nirvana or whatever, it was just some random thing. Now, Aerosmith, I didn't get to see them. Aerosmith would come there all the time, and Aerosmith, at least Steven Tyler, was very infamous for doing that, jumping into small venues wherever they were under assumed names. He enjoyed that back in the day.
Yeah.
So I got to see a lot of these bands that, and that's what kind of the cool thing is everyone went to Trees because you never knew who was going to pop up on stage at 1 o'clock in the morning. And so it was kind of a cool thing. Right.
Right. Defense dad out there. So he got to jam one time with Neil Diamond.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to Neil Diamond's concert a couple times in the 80s. And he just got talking about Jimmy Buffett. I've been to, I think, 23 Jimmy Buffett concerts. Anyone that knows me, I'm a pretty big parrot head. And Buffett always put on a great show. Always put on a great show.
I was always a little blessed with this, but there was it's not so much anymore. Rodeos aren't nearly as big of a thing as they once were. Yeah. But there was one of the biggest, on the circuit. Rodeos around here that happened for many, many years, and just my ties with family that law enforcement and working security for the show and a lot of other things. I got to spend a lot of time, whatever tour buses, but not behind the stage, backstage, things like that, with quite a bit of the country, especially the rodeo circuit country. So Chris Ledoux. Was a phenomenal fucking individual, man. He was so cool. Garth Brooks, at least in the early days of Garth Brooks,
before he became Chris, whatever.
Garth went supernova pretty quick. So
no, but he when he after No Fences came out, and then he had a couple other albums. That's about his third or fourth album. He did that weird pop thing with Chris. What was his pseudonym? Chris
Gaines. Yeah.
Chris Gaines. When he did that, that's kind of when I stopped caring about Garth this much,
Yeah, I think I had already stopped caring about that.
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, there was a great rodeo that we used to go to all time in Mesquite, which is a suburb of Dallas, called the Mesquite Rodeo, and they always had and Tracy Lawrence. I remember Tracy Lawrence, Ricky Van Shelton were always coming through there. You had got to hang out with Ricky Skaggs.
Alan Jackson passed away recently, didn't he?
He hasn't passed, I don't think. He's just very sick.
Oh, he didn't? Okay.
I'm going to check. Hold on.
I thought he did. You were talking about all the people that had passed
No,
away.
he's still alive. He is still alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's got, I think, like throat cancer or something. There's something going on that he is no longer touring and singing anymore. So
right. Yeah.
Toby Keith passed. Toby was a really cool guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just the bucket list stuff, concerts. Like you, I think we've both been very blessed in our lives, but there are a couple that I would love to see, even if it's not Pink Floyd. If I just could go see David Gilmour, but But I was really, really happy. I was surprised when the notification came up that Moz is going to be touring and doing a 15 site tour. One of them's going to be in Little Rock, and I was like, "Well, I'm going." So I got tickets, and so I'll be at. I was going to see Morrissey in less than a month. It's going to be so amazing.
Yeah, I haven't been to any concerts in a very long time. The last went to a comedy show. I don't know, maybe a couple of years prior to the whole lockdown thing.
Yeah.
But really haven't done any concerts. However, for quite a number of years, I would buy tickets to certain things for my son.
Yeah,
he's real big into all of that, and I'd get a couple of tickets, whoever he wanted to take, type thing, that sort of thing. So him and a friend or whatever, and a lot of cool bands. Of course, I'd seen pretty much all of them. So
yeah.
Otherwise, I'd have probably conned him into me going with him. But yeah, Alice Cooper. I mentioned Alice Cooper's.
Yeah,
Alice Cooper's a lot of fun.
He lives out in Phoenix. I actually, when I was at the Phoenix airport, this is years ago, playing golf. He was picking somebody up, and he was like in khakis and a golf shirt. And I had heard that he was a big golfer, and sit there for 5 or 10 minutes talking to him. We were both waiting for.
He's as normal of a guy as you ever meet, and you would not think that.
No, you wouldn't. He's very intelligent. I mean, amazing person to talk to. And I asked him, I was like, I would have never, I didn't, I said, don't think, you probably hear this all the time, and don't take this any offense. I said, you are nothing what I thought you'd be, and he goes, what people don't realize is Alice Cooper was just how I made money. It's an act. It's a stage act. That's how I made a living. He's like, are there parts of me that are like that? Well, obviously you can't do that without having some parts of that enjoy that. And he said, but I'm probably the most laid back, non-Alice Cooper person you'll ever meet. And he had his hair up in a ponytail and a golf hat and
a
golf shirt and khaki pants. I was like, that's Alice Cooper. Holy shit,
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. He's a normal dude. I mean, for the 7 minutes that I spent with him, it was pretty awesome. But he wasn't against just sitting there. I was waiting for a ride, and he was waiting to pick someone up, and we just sat there talking. Not a problem. He was having a cigarette. I was having a cigarette, and it's what it is. So once again, we talked full circle coming back into shows and trade shows and all that. The smoking sections where a lot of stuff happens, guys.
It's where all the cool kids hang out. I hate to tell you, but
at least that's where all the great conversations happen,
Whether that was behind the gym at school or behind the ag building or it's at a
under
show,
the bleachers or
I'm telling you, the smoking section's where it's at. Smoking's cool. Hate to tell you. Yeah, hate it all you want, but get to meet a lot of cool people and have a lot of cool conversations for sure.
That's it. All right. Well, we're going to talk about the third topic, sponsored by the Random Viewer Talk, sponsored by our friends over at Monstrum Tactical. I'm going to let Clover talk about what you have to do. It's real simple, guys. Real simple. Take it away, Clove.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up the screen share here real quick. Won't take but a second, but yeah, if you want to be eligible to pick our third and final topic,
type that number
of the evening. The number 17. That's the
no hashtag, one. Just the number 17.
Yeah, we don't do hashtags, pound signs around here, around these parts.
Type
of 17 in the chat. The number 17, not the song from Winger. Which is also pretty cool.
Would you want to see them in concert?
I've seen Winger in concert.
And were they okay?
Winger's okay. Yeah, believe it or not. Yeah.
All right. I don't believe I trust.
They were a part of that glam rock, dude. It was what it was. It's all it was. I mean, come on, hairband type, stuff, whatever. Yeah. I mean, that was an era. Let's get over it. Yeah. Anyway, 17 out there, and be thinking of right now, because when we spin this wheel, you're going to have a very short window to get us your topic out there, because we don't want to type the show for too terribly long, out of respect for those that are listening in the replay audio podcast world. And so, be thinking about your topic and all that. And but 17's out there while we I guess talk about Monstrum for a minute, right?
Yeah. Well, you guys, if you've been listening to this show or watching this show, or watching either one of our channels for the last few years, you've heard us talk about Monstrum Tactical, and Monstrum has great optics that are budget friendly, but you're not having to give up any quality for that price. As a matter of fact, in some of the stuff, you're probably getting better quality than stuff that's twice the price. Obviously, they have all sorts of different optics, whether it's LPVOs, they have red dots, they've got scopes, they've got all sorts of great optics, but they got great mounts and rings, and they got hand guards, they got sights, they sell flashlights, except everything goes over on their website, but their optics and their mounts / rings for me are what kind of sets them apart. And I know you've had them on your podcast several times over the years, and I love what they always say. It's like, we know who we are. We're not trying to jump up into the next level, the next tier. We know who we are. We know what we are, and we want to kind of own this segment. And they do, as far as quality versus price. They're fantastic. Fantastic. If you're looking to get into stuff, this is a great way to start.
Well, a lot of people out there, they don't realize that there's multiple classifications, and we talk about this with the EAA a lot. So it's kind of fitting in a way that Monstrum is kind of side by side. Helping out
absolutely.
The podcast, because in the same way that firearm importers, you have firearm importers that will take whatever some company overseas is making and import it, right, and sell it. And then you've got importers that give their input, and they actually come up with the designs, and they push that manufacturer to do certain things, and then they import very specific things, right? And that's where kind of Monstrum comes into play. They learn the hard way, and it ain't no secret. They've talked about it on my podcast before,
and they own it.
That they started out, and they kind of got a bad rap in a way. So again, if you've tried them years and years ago, maybe give them another try, because
under new we'll put this under
manufacturing, I guess you could say, or something. Yeah. But so they were kind of in that previous category where they were just kind of bringing in junk, quite literally, I think they'd tell you. And then they got more involved with the design process and what they wanted out of their optics and the specificity of the models, and then they took it up a notch to owning their own manufacturing. And so that's one of the cool things about Monstrum is, they are one of those companies that's their products. It may, on the outside, it may sort of look like some other stuff that's out there, but there's going to be subtleties and things that they've, through their manufacturing, right, that they have tweaked, and they just do a better job of. And part of that, I think, definitely has to do with the quality of the glass that they use. For sure. Their turrets. There's just a much different feel when you start talking about the LPVOs and you start talking about the feel of the turret adjustments on there. Man, they are not anything else in their price range. They've got some of the best feeling, FEEL feeling turrets. When you start going to adjust, you can just tell those really positive, hard, clicks. That the gears and the springs and the detents and all the little bitty parts that makes all that work. I don't pretend to know them all, right? But in there are just, you can just tell it's quality stuff. Yeah,
for sure. Check out Monstrum Tactical. Like I said, great stuff. And it's not just an optics thing. It's a mount, but they sell all sorts of accessories and all that. So check them out. Real quick before you spin, we're gonna give you guys about 10-15 more seconds, but hit the number 17. Hit the number 17 if you want to be entered, and have your topic ready when he hits the random selector. And if you're chosen, go ahead and start typing that topic in, and we'll talk. It doesn't have to be guns. It can be guns. It can be whatever you want to talk about, as long as it doesn't get us kicked off of the internet. And you guys know what those topics are. But we've had some
questionable stuff for sure.
some questionable stuff.
I haven't seen Chase out there tonight, so we're probably.
Well, he's putting up his hurricane shutters. So
this is true. This is true. That may be what he would want to talk about. All right, I'm hitting the button.
Knowing him, probably not something that boring, you know.
No. So,
but yeah. But all right, let's spin that wheel. No whammies. No whammies.
Let's do it. See what we come up with. And G23, you can't give your spot away. Don't work like that.
And of course, he wins.
There you go. Rigged. Can't give your spot away. Sorry, we don't play that. I get tired of that. That's a chicken shit way to do things. Don't put your number in there if you can just give your thing away. Just let somebody else have a chance to win. It works.
That's it. Simple. That's it.
So,
if you don't want it, then just tell us, hey, I pass and all that. So, but tell us quickly. Either give us the topic or tell us that you pass.
Well, the biggest thing is if we draw your name and you don't want it, what you got to realize is you're holding up the show for the. You're holding up the show for the replay folks, and that's not fair.
If you don't want to do this, then just don't enter. But since you entered G23, I expect you to give us a good topic.
Maybe
at least a topic.
If he don't, the next 10 seconds or so, we're spinning again because
this is true too.
We don't sit here and wait all night, but he's on.
We can only fill so much time, you know.
Well, he's on. To be fair, he's on that Pacific Northwest time, and that's I hear that's sort of like Tulsa time or maybe Jimmy Buffett time, 5 o'clock.
Everything's manana.
Yeah. Well, it's true. All right, I'm spinning again.
All right, spin that wheel. No whammies. No whammies.
G23 out there is killing us.
Yeah.
Killing us. Oh, it
clicked. He gave us.
Here we go. One country you would like to visit. So, Gerald.
He did. Right under. And this actually be a pretty good one. One country. Go for it. Go for it. I'll let you start first.
A country I would like to visit. Oh, this is easy for me.
Yeah.
And for you, you're gonna go. You're a fucking moron. But Japan.
Oh yeah, fucking moron. No, I agree with you. If you've never been to Japan,
I've never. I would love it.
That's not going to be mine because I live there. You know.
Yeah.
No, Japan. 100%. I'm telling people, if you've never been to Japan, you need to go. It's beautiful, especially the Okinawa part. But I mean, even the whole country has got beautiful parts all over. The foods can be amazing. The Japanese people, for the most part, are great people. Their traditions and their history is, it's pretty amazing. I love Japan. I love Japan. What are some of the reasons? Is it for food or for the history or what draws Japan to you?
So like a lot of the history with a lot of the pictures and things I've seen is absolutely beautiful. So I like a lot of the history because you get. There's a difference between, like, I've been all over the United States and I've seen like American history, right?
Yeah, right.
Civil War battlefields. I mean, we see all that. We're at the Alamo. One of my favorite places ever is the Alamo.
Oh yeah, people don't realize how small that place is.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just a chapel, or whatever is all that's left, obviously. But
I'm saying, but even back then, it was a small fort. It wasn't this massive thing.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I mean that's cool. But even like the cities. Like a lot of the videos I see and a lot of the stuff I see from this, like the cities are just, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, right? Because obviously you've been there, right? I don't know how recently or anything like that, but
10 years or so was the last time.
But the cities in Japan do not look rundown, dingy, shithole cities like a lot of the big cities we see around here. They look really modern. And like they're into technology, and it's just like the vibe there just seems really cool.
So, like Japan, I think it fits into most cities are going to fit into one of two categories: either the ultra modern, technological, advanced stuff, which let's face it, people don't realize is most of modern technology comes from Japan. But yeah, they're either they're going to be the ultra, technology cities like Tokyo and all that, or you go to somewhere like Kyoto and women's Still to this day, some of the women will wear kimonos out in town. They're about the old tradition of Japan, and so it's one or the other. Very rarely do you have both, right? I think that most cities are going to fall into the modern, or they're going to fall into the traditional side of Japan. Now, Okinawa's a little bit different because it's very Americanized, because Americans have been there forever, but it's also like a tropical island. So it's kind of like, it's pretty much like Hawaii. So it's a little bit different vibe there, right? But in mainland Japan, yeah, they don't like trash on the ground. They don't like they care very much about picking up and all of that stuff. So everything's kind of clean and very busy, incredibly busy. A lot of people. But yeah, if you're there's cities for everyone, right? There's cities if you're the young and you want to be all about the technology and the modern stuff, there's a lot of that. If you're interested more in the 2,000, 3,000-year-old castles and samurai and the ninja and all of that, then there are cities for that as well. You know, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think that's what's always kind of been appealing to me, right? Is you've got the most modern of the modern, and then you've got the most ancient of the ancient as well, like all right there in one place.
Absolutely.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
like one day
you go to Tokyo and it's modern, one of the most modern cities in the world, but you drive 30 minutes outside of Tokyo and you are 2,000 years old, you know?
Yeah, like in the same day, you could cover literally like 3,000 years of shit in one day.
Absolutely.
That's just kind of cool to me.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful country, beautiful people. The great thing about the Japanese, they're the most hardworking people I've ever been around. And what I'll say to them about this is they don't get upset with you like other countries do if you don't speak their language. As long as you maybe try, learn a couple words, right? And they can see that you're trying to do something. But most importantly, if you just respect them, respect their culture, they're really big on culture over there. Incredibly important is their culture. Probably more than anything is their culture is more important than anything else they have in their world over there. If you respect their culture and respect their way of life and respect them, they will literally bend over backwards to help you in any way possible. They're the greatest people in the world. I love it there. I mean, I'd live there if I could. It's incredibly expensive. And there's not much land, obviously. It's an island. So there's not a whole lot of opportunities to live there that's not cheap. But it's amazing. I think you should. Well, hell, I mean, maybe we can go over there together one day. That'd be fun as hell. You have a built-in tour guide.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I mean, need a lot of super chats out there to make that happen.
A lot of super chats. Yeah,
memberships, merch store. There's ways. Yeah. There's ways. Send me to Japan, everybody. I'll go for you. I don't mind.
Yeah, what about? I spent a month last year and a month this year, and I thought she might not come back.
Right.
But yeah.
What about you?
So I forever in my life, I always said growing up that I'd want to go to Australia. And I think that would be awesome, but the older I get and the more I care about certain things in my life, I think for many reasons, but the main reason is history and food. I want to go to Italy. I think that if I that's one place I want to go. Yeah. I want to go and eat up and down north and southern Italy. Northern Italy and southern Italy are much different food, but I love all Italian food, so I'd love to eat there. But talking about the history of Italy and the Romans Empire, and even maybe the good thing about being in Italy is you can jump over to Greece and talk about some of the most historic architecture in the world over in Athens, Greece, and all that. But if I could go one place, I think Italy. I'd really love the history there, and I would love to just eat and gain 30 pounds. I would have no problem doing that.
All carbs, man. All
carbs, and I would not feel bad about it at all during that trip.
Yeah. And Italy's one of them places when you talk about arms in
Yeah.
general. A lot of history in
Oh yeah.
Italy
Oh
with,
yeah.
I mean, look at Beretta,
Yeah.
all this privately owned, arms company in the world.
Yeah.
You know, um, yeah, there's something to be said about Italy and that there's probably some cool places to
And,
see,
and,
have
and,
with
and
all
being
that.
a car, having
True. Yeah.
Ferrari and Lamborghini and Alfa, all of those. But yeah, I think that I'm not gonna lie. I think it keeps going back to my head. I think the biggest reason is just the food. I would love to just travel up and down Italy and tasting true, like, what Italian food is supposed to be, not what you get at Olive Garden. Not that I don't love Olive Garden, but I would love to find out and just have like traditional, like, man, I'd be so good. So good. So
Olive
good.
Garden is like going to Taco Bell and saying you had Mexican food. Let's
That's
be
right.
honest.
That's right. That's right. Not saying that it's bad. It's just not what, it's not the real thing, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
G23, since he brought
yeah.
the question up, says he'd love to go to Argentina.
Yeah.
Now, I've got, I know people that go to Argentina hunting pretty regular, bird
Mhm.
hunting, specifically dove, uh, and they have a blast. They
Yeah.
have a blast. So, literally, I guess, since they're taking shotguns and
Well,
whatnot.
sure. Sure.
So yeah, Argentina, that would probably be fun too.
Yeah.
Argentina, probably a
Oh,
little
there's a
cooler
handful.
climate.
There's a handful of countries that I'd love to go to. Sweden. I think Sweden would be blast. We had a foreign exchange student when I was a kid from Sweden, and I still talk to him. And he's always said, "You need to come over. You need to come over." We will one day. But I'd love to go to Sweden. I would love to go to Ireland. I know where my family, the town that my family's from. Apparently, I mean, my great grandmother came over in the boat. So it's been generations. But I doubt that the house is still, the family, whatever the house they had back then is still there. If it is, it's probably not owned by our family, but I do know the town where the family's from. And I'd love to go see that one day. Would I like to go to Australia? Sure. I tell you a place I like to go to China, but only certain. I'd love to go to Hong Kong. I think Hong Kong would be a blast. I've been to Korea. Um, yeah, Hong Kong would be pretty fun. I think a little bit, but yeah. Um, I've been a lot of places in the world. I've been to England, been to Germany, been to Switzerland, um, been to all over Asia, been Africa, places in Africa. I've been fortunate, maybe some people say unfortunate, in my life to do be a lot of places, but Japan's my favorite place in the world. If that tells you anything, Clover, it's my favorite place in the world.
Yeah. Well, I've been to Mexico, so
I've been in Mexico. Yeah,
that's it. Not for long,
yeah.
but been to
You've been to
Mexico.
Canada?
No,
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 well, you need to go
I
to
don't know.
Canada.
I don't know that I would
Canada's
want to
pretty
go
cool.
to Canada, eh?
If you're gonna go up to Seattle and go over in the Vancouver side, it's one of the prettiest areas you'll ever be in your life.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Vancouver.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, we got to wind it down, I guess,
Yeah,
don't
we
we?
do have to wind it down. What you got going on?
Man, nothing. Man, I keep having so many setbacks. I mean, most of the people out there that follow me at least halfway closely know what's going on. But good Lord, I mean, hopefully in the next couple weeks I can dig out and we're at the end of the year, dude. Like,
Yeah,
I gotta, like, there's so much that's got to get done, and I don't have. There's gonna be not enough time to get it done in,
yeah,
if I'm not careful. But um, yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I've doing some follow ups from, obviously been doing some follow ups this last week from TriggerCon, and trying to get some stuff lined out from that. And not that I need anything else right now on my plate, to be quite honest, but doesn't hurt. And
yeah. Sure.
but yeah, I've got quite a few things that I think most people have seen. I don't think there's any secrets. I don't got anything here super top secret or anything like that. I think I've posted on social and done other things. I just got to get out and do some content, do some videos.
Yeah.
Ended up having a reschedule with Sarah Thursday. Was supposed to have her on the podcast with Hold My Guns, and I had no internet the entire freaking day. So that was fun. Apparently, somebody decided, because the fiber optic that I'm on is all buried. So apparently somebody had the bright idea they were going to dig and not pick up the phone and call first, which is what the little signs say. And they broke into a fiber optic line, and that had to be repaired. But so that'll be rescheduled. So we may end up having the final 3 episodes of the podcast this week. So look for those at the very least, I guess. What about you?
Yeah. Armed Citizen Podcast Tuesday. Another fun topic. Last month or so, the concealed carry series has been great. We put a video out, was it last week? If you guys are interested, I think on the 1st or whatever it was, if you guys are interested about going to SHOT Show, go check out our channel. We put a video out there. Here in a couple of weeks, we're going to pick someone to go to SHOT Show with us in January. So if you've ever wanted to go to SHOT Show and couldn't get in, go watch the video. It'll tell you what all you got to do to enter, and all of that. But yeah, we're gonna pick someone to go to SHOT Show with us. I think it'll be kind of fun to do that and introduce them to some of our buddies in the industry, and try to take them to range day and some of the after hour activities and all that stuff. So it'll be fun. But if you've ever wanted to go to SHOT Show and didn't think you could, well, this might be your chance. So go check out that video. We're on our channel and all that jazz. Like I said, guys, thank you for always supporting Clover and myself in all of our endeavors, all of our projects, and buying, like Clover was saying, we got to take our bucket list trips, right? So we need, merch sales and YouTube memberships and all of that now. Right. Thank you for all that do buy the merchandise from our websites, and they do have the YouTube memberships and do the super chats and all that. It does mean quite a bit to us, and you guys will never know how much it means to us, but thank you for always doing that. But we do invite you to go and support some of our sponsors like EAA and Monstrum Tactical. And obviously we talk about them because we use their products. We're not just taking money from companies that we don't know. We talk to our friends because these are the companies that we like and we use. And it's easy to talk positive about products and companies that we've been using for years. But obviously we'd love for you to go check them out and support them. And some of you can financially support them by buying firearms or optics or whatever. But if you can't, make sure you follow them on social media and leave a comment on something and just tell them, say, hey, thanks for supporting Ghost and Clover, Yeah. But yeah, make sure you're out there. Like I said, if you're out there watching this in replay or listening to this in podcast form, we do invite you every other Sunday to, this is episode 17. So we got a couple months left. We got every 2 weeks. So be on the lookout. We got a couple more months. We got 4 or 5 more episodes or whatever it is. And, but we do invite you to come and check us out live. It's a fun, interactive chat we have. We call it, funnily, we record in front of a live studio audience, what they used to say on TV, but there's a live chat here. And if you're just getting into the 2A community, there's a lot of good people out here in the chat. If you have any questions or just want to meet like-minded people, come hang out at the live chat. It's a great place to meet and to talk to some really cool people. So obviously, thank you everyone out there in the live chat. Our regulars that are always out there, part of the crew and the mafia that are always out there supporting and listening. And thanks for the comments and the questions and all of that stuff. And go check us out over on Firearms Radio Network and the Self-Defense Radio Network. And I think I've done enough plugging. If I missed anything, Clove, if not, what else you got before we get out of here?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Damn it, Jackie. I can't control the weather.